Steven Palazzo, Congressman. And are you in Washington, D.C., or are you at home?
No, sir. I'm back in the district where we went up for one vote and we came back home.
Well, I got to tell you, the situation with your speaker, she's got to be losing some behind the scenes. I think she's worried. To me, she's more vulnerable now than she's been in a long time. I think most people think that if you guys take it back as far as the midterm, she's through and she's going to retire. But if that happens, it will be a great day for America.
Absolutely, Paul. And, she's definitely losing her grip, not just on her conference, but on reality as well. The things that she's doing is absolutely un-American, is not in lockstep with what the American people want. She's cowing to the socialist, progressive Democratic Party. So in 2022 is looking really good. I know a lot of people say, well, I can't wait until 2024 to, get a new president. So we can't wait that long. 2022 is important. She's definitely not coming back. I'd be surprised if she runs, and if she does run, she's definitely not going to be speaker.
Well, she's what, 81, 82 years old, somewhere around that area? I know she's over 80. Yeah. So, and to be honest with you, she's done pretty good. She's held up quite well. I guess the Botox has helped out a little bit in that one, but she's, again, over 80 years old. So, you have to put that in consideration also. She hasn't lost her mind as much as the president has. But, I'm listening to this one cut that he did yesterday, a day before yesterday, and I wonder how much longer we can do this. Here's the energetic Joe Biden.
So the thing that I continue to hope that people will overcome their fears.
I'm telling you, Congressman Steven Palazzo, if he did do the annual address to face to the nation, he'd still be speaking. So, but on Nancy Pelosi, when she went to visit the Pope, she was talking about all of the global warming thing. And, it was kind of stunning to hear some of the and I read the text, too, and I listened to her. She was basically putting it out there that she wants you guys to pass this infrastructure bill because part of that is going to be sending money overseas to help other people have clean air, clean water, and to cut climate change. And, in what she phrased it was, she's making no bones about it. She wants us to pay for it.
Yeah. Again, she's lost every grip she's had on reality. This climate change bill that they're wanting us to pass is going to we're going to lose jobs. It's not going to do anything to improve the air quality or water quality in America. But, China and the worst polluters are going to continue to do what they want to do, and we're going to continue to, lose jobs. And just lose our competitive edge. And it's almost, if you've seen every action from Pelosi and Biden over the first 10 months, they're doing everything they can to weaken our country and destroy it from the inside. And I've always been somebody that's been a national security guy. And I said, look, there's no foreign power that can take down America. We can only take ourselves down from the inside. And the Democrat Socialist Party is doing that, and it's scary. But Paul, what I hope the Pope asked her, about her vote that she had on the House 2 weeks ago when they brought up the abortion until birth bill. I'm wondering how that's set with her and the Pope. Because there's an archbishop out in L.A. that's actually, first of all, he doesn't want to give her communion, and second, doesn't want her, and he's basically called the month of October a month to pray for Nancy Pelosi and ask her for grace, because they passed a bill. This is the first time I've ever seen this in our nation's history where they're not hiding their death agenda. They're not hiding how they want to increase taxes and destroy jobs and ruin our military and let every child be able to have a sex change if they want to. But they brought up a bill and it passed almost 100% with Democrat votes. Only one Democrat voted with us, and his name's Henry Cuellar. He's from Laredo, Texas, and he's also with us on the border security issues. That is, Paul, to me, that's disgusting, and I wish the Pope would have talked to her about that.
It's amazing that he even gave her a meeting. I couldn't have done that. During that hearing, and I'm not too familiar with this lady from New Mexico, Yvette, is it Harrell or Harrell? I'm not sure, from New Mexico. But here is part of her questioning as far as the abortion issue. Now, listen to this.
What abortion procedures are typically used after 15 weeks gestation?
The same abortion procedure I just described. We use a combination of dilating the cervix using medications and dilators, and then removing the pregnancy using suction and instruments.
So these are more along the line of the dismemberment abortion.
That is not a medical term.
But it is used.
That is not a medical term.
The procedure.
The procedure is called a dilation and evacuation.
So equal to dismemberment.
That is not a medical term.
Well, I just want to make sure that the public can understand exactly what we're talking about, because we're talking about dismembering a baby with a heartbeat.
I'm not here to lie to the public.
Well, I'm not here either, not to lie to the public, but I do want to speak truth to the public, and so let's call it what it is. I'm going to say dismemberment. You don't have to respond to that, but we all know that's exactly what it is, and people need to understand what we're talking about when we're dismembering arms and legs and of a beating heart baby from a mother.
To the point of how powerful indoctrination is to the American public, to a human being, is when something is so devastating to life itself that it is not even you can't even mention it. You can't describe it, but you can vote for it, and it is part. I mean, this is not taking a steel rod and jabbing it in the brain of a heart-beating preborn baby, tearing that body apart and pulling the body parts out. Mm-hmm. You can't do that. You can't show that on TV. You can't show that probably at any open public square. You can't do it. But they don't call it that. They call it sanitized by saying it's removing the pregnancy. That's it.
Yeah, Paul. I mean, you know, it's disgusting. It's like abortion is murder, plain and simple. It's not health care. It's not about the woman's reproductive rights. It's murder. And you know, in our church, you know, the church has declared it, you know, from day one. Mm-hmm. And civilizations are judged on how they treat the most vulnerable in society. And there's no more vulnerable than an unborn person, unborn child, and they are humans, and they need to have the protective rights. And you know, and it's like the Republican Party is the only one that's trying to protect the life of unborn children. But this is what they do. It's like they're upset with Lynn Fitch and the Mississippi lawsuit that's going in front of the Supreme Court. They were upset with Texas. They're upset. They want to take the rights of citizens away, you know, by attacking the states. And when the states do something because it's reflective of their citizenry, they want to use, like, and don't get me started on weaponizing the Department of Justice and what they're trying to do with the IRS and transactions. But this is, you know, and I brought this up just because the hypocrisy has to stop. If I hear the word devout Catholic come out of Nancy Pelosi's mouth one more time, you know, I'm gonna have to call her out on it. It's like, cause there's nothing devout about her other than her being a pagan.
You know, and I want to talk about this when we come back. But when you start thinking about the midterms, you look at the midterms in a positive light to say, what can we stop in 2 more years of the Biden administration? And that's almost the safe gap there. But you never think about if we don't, and they've got 2 more years for total control of the House and what we are in the Senate and, of course, in the White House. What the hell's going to happen in those 2 more years, of 4 full years of this guy? And Kamala Harris is lost. She has no earthly idea what's going on. We'll talk more about that with Steven Palazzo. Steven Palazzo in Washington, D.C. I want to ask you this. Where are we as far as setting the stage on both of these bills? And kind of break them down, first of all, on the first one, the infrastructure bill itself. Hello?
Yeah, well, Paul, I mean, obviously it's not even an infrastructure bill. It's, I think, less than 10% actually goes to what you and I would consider infrastructure, and that's our roads and bridges. And we know how terrible shape many of our bridges are in the rural parts of our state. It's not going to dredge our ports so we can bring in more cargo ships and create more jobs. It's not going to our airports, not going to our rivies and our locks and levees. It's just a socialist giveaway. So I believe, something may ultimately pass. It's not going to pass with Republican support. It's going to, the Democrats are going to be the ones passing it. But I just pray that it's not $3.5 trillion or $5 trillion. I mean, obviously we can't afford that, and it's not going to do anything. The only thing it's going to do is put our children's children in such under a mountain of debt that they're just never going to be able to dig themselves out of it. And I didn't hear the second bill that you were talking about.
Well, Manchin's pretty, and Sinema also, they're pretty locked in on this thing. And my God, they've had enough people bending their arms on this thing. It seems like they're holding sway that as far as Manchin's concerned, I think he keeps talking about 1.5 or somewhere around $1.5 trillion, and to make sure most of that goes to the infrastructure, which they don't want. They want to make sure that they have all that extra money to use as grants and campaign chest for the liberal governors across the nation. We understand that. But what's the timetable in the Senate on this? Do you know?
I don't know. Obviously they want to pass up, and they want to pass something fast because they want to make it a campaign issue. They want to be able to pass out checks to, these liberal governors who basically, shut down their cities and their states during the pandemic and collapsed their economies, and they're all suffering. People, businesses are shuttered up, and people are moving out of their states, coming to red states, obviously, Mississippi included, because they just want to get out of these socialist-run states. And obviously, we have a huge showdown coming up in December. We've got the government funding. We've got the debt limit extension is going to be expiring in around December the 3rd. December is going to have a lot of fireworks, I believe, when it comes to seeing what the socialists are going to try to cram through and cram down the throats of the American people. It's all going to be coming to a theater near you in December.
When is the holiday break as far as Congress is concerned?
I don't know. I mean, so someone mentioned, normally you don't work during, the month of December. And I was like, well, my calendar proves otherwise. I don't think we've had a December off. Not that, that's really off, because when we're home, we're working in our districts and meeting people. So I really couldn't tell you. I don't see it. If I have 2 weeks blocked off in December, I'd say we probably will get a week during the holidays. But other than that, we're going to be working. But the problem is Nancy Pelosi, she's created this proxy process where there's some members in the Democratic Party that have not shown up to the Capitol since the pandemic began in March of 2020.
That's amazing.
Can you imagine that?
It is absolutely amazing.
They're probably not. Well, it's the only way she can get it. It's the only way she can keep her votes. She wouldn't be able to pass the legislation she's passing if people had to show up physically and do their jobs.
Yeah.
And it's a mess. I mean, she can't manage floor time, which is, she can't manage Congress, and it's devastating what she's doing to our nation. And she's not alone. It's Joe Biden. It's Chuck Schumer. It's these socialist media outlets that are just trying to re-educate and redraft America. I mean, it's just like, I was going to tell you happy belated Columbus Day. I mean, Christopher Columbus is under attack by the socialist left. They want to do away with the holiday of the man that through his courage and curiosity basically found America. And and of course now the United States came later. But it's just that they just feel like they got to just erase everything about what's made America great and replace it with just a sad narrative. And it's sad.
I do want to. The reason I asked that, Steven Palazzo is my guest. The reason I asked that, Congressman, was that people, as closer we get to the fourth quarter, or deeper we get into the fourth quarter, it's campaign mode for the 2022 is full speed ahead. As most people understand that, for November of next year. So very little gets done, and there's some people say if we don't take care of between now and the time that, you come back home to work the home territory, it's very little chance that anything will get done. And that infrastructure bill is something that a lot of people are counting on, but I'm not sure it's going to be done.
Yeah, well, they're going to pass something. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Joe Manchin is going to eventually give in. He can't, just keep moving the goal line every time they ask him, well, what do you want to see? What do you want to do? I think he would definitely accept the $1 to $1.5 trillion. Whether or not the money actually goes to infrastructure, I don't think he's really all that concerned with that at this point. But I'm glad him and Kirsten Sinema are there, because they're the only ones showing somewhat common sense that they can't support the $3.5 trillion socialist giveaway. But you're right, and it's sad that all they think about is politics. And what they're doing, though, is they're doing the same thing Barack Obama did, but they're on steroids. The American people are fully aware of their government mandates. They're fully aware of what happened in Afghanistan, an absolute failure of leadership, and Biden and his generals should resign, but they haven't, which is even more, you got to hold your leadership accountable. The border security, there is no border security. Our border is wide open, and we're all going to become a border state after this president's done. That's why 2022 is so important. That's why I think we're definitely going to win back that house.
I hope so.
And we're going to go into
let me break in here. This Afghanistan thing was such a failure. It's a monumental, it's a historic failure. Everybody knows that. One of the things that the Biden administration was counting on, and with the help of the media, it seems like that's going to be a reality. They were thinking, okay, we're going to push this so far back by 2022 in the election cycle that people are going to forget about this. And, man, they've done a pretty good job of that. But I'll just ask you, did you have any constituents within your district who had friends or relatives or coworkers who happened to be still over there?
Well, we had tons. We had, that's my staff was working on that every day. We had Marines, we had special forces people who had friends, interpreters, translators. They're back here living their lives and moved on with their life, but they were in constant contact, and we were, reaching out to the Department of State every day. And it kind of reminded me of during the pandemic when we were trying to get Mississippians out of South America. The State Department was absent.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the few military people and NGOs over there, we wouldn't have gotten the number of people out that we did get out. But when you leave it to the government, especially the Biden administration, now we have 100,000 Afghanis, and we don't even know these aren't even the guys that actually served alongside our troops. They were just letting him.
It is amazing, Stephen, that. We had the news of the first part of this week talking about funding them or funding humanitarian efforts in Afghanistan after we unfroze their money, billions of dollars. We asked nothing for that. We could have held that over them to get all of our American hostages out of there. And we left them, $81 billion worth of military equipment and support vehicles and things. I just don't know how anybody could screw up as much as this president has done so far, and he's got 3 more years to do that. It's always a pleasure, sir. I appreciate it, and thank you for spending some time with us.
Well, Paul, it's always my pleasure as well, and just keep doing what you're doing to keep Mississippi and our nation concerned.